Doctors, what's the most chilling thing a family member has said in a consultation? The doctor told me I was a perfect match for my sister's bone marrow transplant, a 1 in a million chance. Then my mother said, "Of course he is, that's what he was made for." I always knew I was the family disappointment. My sister Anna was the golden child, born with a rare congenital illness that made her fragile and the center of our universe. When the doctors said a transplant was her only hope, I was the first to get tested. For a week, my parents were nicer to me than they had been in my entire life. When the results came back positive, the relief in the room was so thick you could taste it. But my mother's words echoed in my head. That night, I went looking for my baby album. I couldn't find one. Anna had 5, overflowing with pictures of her first steps, first words, first everything. My first photo was a grainy picture of me at 6 months old, sitting next to her on a blanket. It looked less like a memory and more like an introduction. I confronted my dad the next day. "What did Mom mean by that in the hospital?" He tried to brush it off, saying she was just emotional. I pushed back. "It's like you don't see me, you just see a bag of spare parts for Anna." That's when he broke. He sat me down and explained that they had gone through 3 rounds of IVF to conceive me. They didn't just want another child, they needed a donor. The doctors had explained that a sibling had the highest probability of being a perfect match. My entire existence was a carefully managed medical contingency plan. He finally looked at me, his eyes full of a strange mix of pity and pragmatism, and delivered the line that severed the last thread of hope I had. "You weren't a surprise, son. You were a prescription." I felt nothing, a profound, hollow emptiness. I looked over at my mom and sister who had been listening from the doorway. Anna looked ashamed, my mother looked terrified. I turned back to my father. "So this whole time, my life, it's just been a long-term deposit, you're finally ready to withdraw?" He couldn't answer. I walked out of the house and went to the hospital. I sat with the transplant coordinator and my parents. They thought I was there to schedule the procedure. The coordinator slid the consent forms across the table. I picked up the pen, but then I slid them back. I signed the consent forms, but my only condition was that they sign the papers giving me up for adoption first.